Chip Zdarsky's disastrous run on Batman has finally ended. Knowing Batman writers, he'll probably return to the characters sooner than later. It's a run that should have ended almost a year ago at issue 149, but kept trekking along through one of DC's lamest events and into DC All In, an initiative that has produced exactly 3 books worth reading and about 5 others I've still been reading for some reason. The reason of Zdarsky's Batman failing wasn't because of its length or Zdarsky's politics, which honestly weren't really a problem for me, but it was his ambition. If there's one thing I do find appealing about the run, it is how ambitious it is. Zdarsky tried to tie the past 5 Batman runs together and the entire history of Batman into one story, along with trying to craft a sequel to Grant Morrison's run and Scott Snyder's run, and also dealing with an ongoing Joker book at the time, and Ram V's Detective Comics. He failed spectacularly, but the ambition is admirable. The problem was, Zdarsky's approach was to simplify the past material, specifically to Morrison's work. This is exemplified the most with the main villain of the run, Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. Zur-En-Arrh is no longer a mental backup, Batman in a purer form but still the same person as Soul, just a different part. He is now an evil supervillain multiversal consciousness that can be literally uploaded into a robot. That, of course, was the exact moment I gave up on this run's integrity. Morrison's brilliance is how they use the metaphysical instead of the concrete. The 4th dimension isn't an alternate universe you can access. It is literally imagination itself existing on another form and plane of reality. Zur-En-Arrh isn't the evil side of Batman, he is Batman. In Batman R.I.P., Zur-En-Arrh is far too violent and animalistic, but he isn't evil, just not sane. He's a bare-bones version of Batman, but without Bruce Wayne. But he's not a fucking supervillain. Zdarsky centering his entire run around this is really what makes it fall apart. That, and it's an overcomplicated mess of a story. We had arc after arc of BS. The first 2 arcs are fine for what they are until you get to the end of issue 135 and everything goes off the rails with multiversal Jokers and references and shit. We get to meet Batman Dark Knight Returns and he's like, I didn't kill the Joker. The references. So many references. When Morrison referenced something in the Bat Saga, it is some bullshit you've never heard of from a Batman manga you didn't know existed, and now it's cool you know this thing exists. When Zdarsky references Batman's long and varied culture, it is to the fucking Killing Joke again. We always have to come back to the fucking Killing Joke again. Both Morrison and Zdarsky tried to tying Batman's future and past together. Morrison was able to craft a mythology that could convincingly make you believe that The Dark Knight Returns and a comic where Batman fought a zebra all were the same character's life. Zdarsky more wants to explain how the new 52 Batman run is still canon somehow for some fucking reason. This is as much or even more a sequel to Snyder's run than Morrison's. A lot of Morrison's ideas are used more, but Snyder is the one that's referenced the most. Snyder's run's a good run though I think it kind of concreted this really terrible version of the Joker that this series still continues with. All of this culminated in the awful Joker Year 1 story, which I don't even want to talk about anymore. The story functions as a sequel to Zero Year, and its awful AI art-filled B story goes off what was set up in Snyder's arc Endgame, but that's even more of an issue than eating Grant Morrison's crumbs. The fact is this run has no identity of its own. Zdarsky's run never feels like its own story. We have Failsafe and Commander Star, but the main villain is a character still attached to Morrison, and its second main villain is the Joker, who again is deriving from Snyder and Moore's versions of that Joker. It feels like it's trying to be something as important to comics as the Bat Saga, or even as consistent as Daredevil, but it falls short. Maybe it was the schedule that made every script feel rushed. I can definitely see Joker Year 1 as an editorial quest. Maybe it was the tie-ins to awful events like Gotham War and Absolute Power, and having to operate around the man who stopped laughing running a Joker story concurrently. Maybe that's why all of Zdarsky's talent fell down the drain, I don't know. The biggest thing I'll miss with this run is having a great evil to blame. Oh, I hate you, Chip Zdarsky, for writing crap every month. Though it's unfair to blame everything on Zdarsky. By all means, he's a talented writer, and there's a good chance most of the comics issues can be blamed on editorial and, the simple factor of flying too close to the sun. Based on the history of Batman writers, he'll most definitely will be writing more Batman comics in the future, and I hope this time he's able to craft a much better story with them. Instead of ending this on a negative note, here are things I enjoyed from this run. The art is consistently gorgeous from all collaborators. Utilizing the back page stories as an actual part of the comic story instead of filler is a smart decision. There are good moments sprinkled throughout like, yes Gotham, I shall become a bat, and the 3 Jokers walking out and beating each other to death. Issue 149, while telling a story stolen from Smallville of a clone aging so fast that he lives an entire life within a day, it is a genuinely good issue and should have been the end of the run. After Zdarsky's run ends, we'll be witnessing Hush 2, Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee writing a proper sequel to Hush, a book I don't particularly like, but we'll see how this goes. DC has still not announced who will be taking over the ongoing after that. I just hope whoever it is looks at the mistakes of the past runs and learns not to repeat them. And while I want to post Hitler dead memes about the run ending, I do wish Godspeed to all the talented creators involved and hope I'll never have to revisit this run again. And for that last issue, Batman just kills a guy. Nobody cares. He doesn't care. Nobody mentions it after that. He just kills a guy. DC editorial really doesn't give a fuck anymore. What would I give the run as a whole? Probably a 3 out of 10. That seems reasonable. Anyway. Oh yeah, we got to 500 subscribers. We're actually at 520 at the time of recording. That's pretty cool. Took like 3 years. I have nothing more to say. If you like Chip Zdarsky's Batman run, cool. Explain to me why if you do for some reason. But yeah, go read Ranvi's Detective Comics. It's marginally better. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, I've been Deet. Bye.